Yes, club football is finally back, and it was 3 points, a clean sheet, and songs of praise for a man heavily criticised at the club. And Heckingbottom has Deepdale smiling once again. Join me, Ash, Etienne, and Mark as we dive into everything Preston North End to give you the best and most up-to-date reviews on the internet as we look forward to Bristol City on the weekend. This is where the North End walk.
What a difference a manager makes, hey? Heckingbottom 2 months in, and here we are with another win under our belts. Yes, welcome, Ash, Etienne, and of course, our main man intro, Harvey. One take, Harvey. One take. Well done. How are you all? Are we all good?
All good, mate.
All good.
All right, let's jump straight into that Coventry result. We are recording this, of course, before the midweek game this week, so we don't know the result of that, but we will talk about that in a second. Ash, what was good about that Coventry game for you then?
Yeah, everything actually. I thought it was a really positive performance. We absolutely dominated the first half. That man behind you there could have put a 3 or 4 away, I thought, in the first half, which would have changed the result.
Did you enjoy the game, Harvey, at the weekend?
Yeah, very. I think there's lots of positives to talk about. Obviously, there's individual performances which you can highlight. Obviously, Woodman, Ledson, McCann, etc. I think obviously if that man behind you is a bit more prolific, it could have been about 3, 4, 5. Obviously, there's some good saves by the Coventry keeper, but yeah, it's all smiles at the minute.
Ash, who stood out for you in terms of performances?
Got to call out Woodman for the save at the end. That was ridiculous. It was Gordon Banks-esque. It was some save. I was massively impressed with the midfield, though Ledson for me is such an upgrade on what Whiteman's been doing so far this season. And yeah, just to echo Harvey, that Reece needs to hopefully the goal will help him, but he needs to be as clinical he was in previous years.
Okay. Etienne, I come to you as a sports journalist every single week, but this is a stats one. Okay, so Preston under Ryan Lowe, 1.4 points per game, 37% win rate, estimated points was 64. Under Heckingbottom, 1.8 points per game, 50% win rate, estimated 83 points, with the same group of players. Different mentality, but how's he achieved it? Explain to me in footballing terms how you can look at the stats at the top, look at the stats at the bottom.
Honestly, I think everybody's noticed it. A lot of critics have noticed it. It's our out of possession and our defensive work that has just been built on, and we look so much more secure than we ever were under Lowe. We just look so confident stepping up, defending. I mean, Coventry have some quality players at their disposal, and we just didn't look phased at all. And then when they had their one shot on target, it was saved brilliantly by Woodman. Whereas under Lowe, you could have the worst winger in the world running it, and Lindsay and Story would be absolutely terrified. So I think Heckingbottom has come in, immediately worked on that out of possession, and it's just shored us up. And then I think going forward as well, we just look a bit more confident, a bit more organised, and Reece probably should have had 3 or 4 on the day, but creating those chances is something we've always struggled with, and it was just good to see us actually, beat a team on XG for once.
It's a bit worrying though, isn't it, Harvey, if your main striker needs 4 or 5 chances to get 1 goal?
Yeah, I think it depends when you look at it. Obviously, Ash highlighted the previous form. Obviously, in old years, we know that Reece can be at that point where he can bag, almost every week. But I think a lot of confidence. I think Reece is the biggest confidence player you'd probably say in the team, and I think a lot of that was lost under Ryan Lowe. So I think, like I said, that goal will do in the world of good, and obviously you just hope that you can put a few more in.
Okay, we'll come on to some tweets about Reece in a second. But okay, let's talk about Freddie Woodman. Okay, and I've got to, I suppose, apologise a little bit here because we've been his biggest critic, and I said he wasn't a good goalkeeper maybe a couple of months ago. But Ashley definitely saved you 2 points there, didn't he?
Yeah, he won the game. For me, I think it would have been a draw had he not made that save. And I always say that saves can be as important as goals, and that was one of the best I've seen in a long time. So really impressed. But I thought throughout the game, he was commanding the defence a bit better. He seemed a bit more, forthcoming, and didn't seem as nervous, which is great to see. So hopefully that continues.
Yeah, we could have put a whole page of these tweets on, but because we've already put the tweets on that slammed him, we'll put a tweet one in that praises him. Paul Heckingbottom said, brilliant save by Freddie to secure the points. And Carl says, deserved the win overall. Delighted that Reece scored, as it does worry me how many chances he misses. This is the main topic with winning. Thought the referee was shocking for both teams as well, though. Was he, Etienne?
I'll be honest, I didn't really notice the referee. I was watching it, and that wasn't the first thing on my mind. So I'd love to say it was shocking, but I don't have an opinion on that. What I do have an opinion on, though, is Reece. Obviously, I think if he hadn't scored, we would have gone lost if Freddie hadn't made that save, or Drew and just gone, well, he should be putting those chances away, and he should. I think Dovin did really well to save his first, but the other two he should be putting away easily. And, it's good to see him finally scoring. Hopefully,
okay. We'll come on to Norwich in a second. But before that, Harvey's story. 200 North End appearances and new contract talks beginning. Just talk to me about the importance of story for the North End.
Yeah, I definitely think he's been one of the more consistent defenders in recent years. Obviously, under Lowe, especially the back end of last season, the start of this season, him and Lindsay were getting a lot of criticism, which I think rightly so. But I think under Hecky, both him and Lindsay do look a lot more defensively solid. And I think, especially with Story, he's probably the only centre-back with a bit of pace. So, I'd be very happy if he signed a contract extension.
Okay. Where are we with contracts overall, actually? You've laboured the point, haven't you, that the board have got to start sorting this out a little bit more? Do we feel a little bit of momentum's heading into the boardroom a bit more?
Yeah, I think there was 3 already in talks, possibly 4. I think we can look at it 2 ways. One is we release a lot of players and treat it as a rebuild. The other is we try and see if these players can be a bit stronger this season under better management, and then maybe sign more of them on. I think there's probably 4 or 5 that I would offer contracts to, and I think you've got to be quite cutthroat. Just on a Story situation, obviously, I think any extension of him is well deserved. I feel like him and Lindsay is almost a partnership, although it's a back 3. I feel like that's the only partnership we've had, and then it's whoever plays on the left side. But I think for the defence now, Hughes is getting on a bit. So I'm not sure whether I'd offer him. But there's a lot of talks at the minute, so hopefully we start to see who's been offered what in the coming days. And I found it quite interesting to see that Reece has now mentioned he'd be open to extend under new management, which obviously previously he wasn't interested in doing. So, yeah, quite positive for me.
Brilliant, absolutely. All things going in the right direction. But Etienne, we've got the Canaries in town this week, and this video will have definitely gone out before that. Before that result is known. So it's probably one of the worst fixtures you could have got, really. A high-flying team that press high, full of goal scorers. Take a point from this one.
There's a bit of me that feels like we can go out and get all 3. It's no secret we're quite good in midweek games, and especially beating a team like Coventry, who are down there, but they've still got some very good players. I think Norwich and Coventry should probably be on the same level at the end of the season. I'd love to see us win, but I'd take a draw just because Norwich are playing really well. They've got some exciting players on their team. But there's a bit of me that wants us to win, and that thinks that we should win.
Okay. The best part, of course, of another midweek fixture is the Preston Light Show is back tomorrow. Can't wait to see that Bobby Dazzler again. It's amazing. You haven't checked it out.
Set off the PTSD there, mate. There's no need for that.
And then we've got the Ryan Lowe Derby this weekend, of course, as well, Harvey. As you, well, I'm not sure any of you will be, but how many tickets have we sold for Plymouth away on a cold October weekend? Any ideas? Will be 1,000. bit less than that? I'm not sure.
I can't imagine. It'd probably be less, especially that far on a Saturday.
Yeah. How do you see it going, Harvey, that particular one?
I mean, if you'd have asked me this a few weeks ago, I'd be laughing if you said anything other than 3 points, to be honest. But I don't know what it is. They've seemed to just light a spark in recent fixtures, and obviously they're not doing amazing, but they look much more of a competent team. But I think it definitely depends more on the midweek fixture. I think if you take a point from Norwich minimum, I think you go into Plymouth with very high expectations and thinking that you can get all three there for what's hopefully a really good week.
Yeah, it could be a 6-point week for Preston, couldn't it? It could be looking at playoffs if all goes well. In between all of that, or after that, of course, the next game is the Arsenal game, Ash. Excited for that one already? Hopefully we'll have an Arsenal fan next week to preview that.
Yeah, I am. I'm both excited and nervous because I work with a few Arsenal fans. So if we get hammered, I'm going to get it. But yeah, what's not to like? It's against a big side. We've been playing a lot better. I think the high pressure tactics that we've been employing against the Championship teams, if we can do that against them, we all know that Premier League teams don't like teams that are in the face. So yeah, I'm excited for it. I'll be interested to see if he plays a full team or not.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think Champions League, Premier League, FA Cup, this is not going to be on his priority list, is it? And Etienne, how much of a percentage chance did you give your side against Arsenal? Honestly,
I'd give us like maybe 30%. I hope that a couple more of their players can become unavailable, just maybe because of fixture congestion or injuries. But Arsenal is still a very good side. But you saw, they lost a man against Bournemouth and they immediately had to shut it down and lost. And I think, if we go into their face, really show that we want to get a result, I think we could find ourselves scoring the first goal, and then it being a case of, well, can we hold on to the result?
Okay. Right, we'll try and preview that one with us next week as well. Before we let you go, of course, it's Halloween right around the corner as well. So this week we're asking all our teams who's the scariest, nastiest player that you've ever seen pull on a North End shirt. You've had a few in the past, but let's see who you might have gone with. Harvey, can you recall anyone that you sat and watched and thought, oh God, I'm glad they're on our side?
Yeah, as soon as I got the email, it's literally a no-brainer. The first player that comes to mind for me is Ben Pearson. It just has to be. That bloke was going into tackles like it was, like bread and butter. I'm pretty sure he'd slide tackle his nan if you asked him to. It was just yellows galore. Proper, just one of them proper rough players, just up for it every single time. And I think if he was in his prime for another team, I think I'd be very worried. Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Ash?
I've got a couple. I was going to obviously mention Pearson because you can't not when that's the conversation. I thought Sean Gregan. I don't know if you lads will remember him, but Sean Gregan used to put himself about. He wasn't particularly nasty, I don't think, but every tackle was a hard tackle. He didn't do anything in bits. I thought Keith Keane was quite a tough lad as well. He used to get stuck in. And a shout for me that's not a player but is a coach. We had Dino Marmria for a while. I don't know if any of you have seen his famous tackle on YouTube, but it's well worth. If you type in Dino Marmria tackle and have a look at that, it's absolutely superb. It's worth a watch. So I think he gets an honourable mention.
Great shouts there, Ash. Etienne, can you beat any of those?
Well, again, Pearson was the first one that came into my mind. And the one that I remember from when I was little was Shane Constell's Sheriff. I remember him getting a couple of red cards in his time, but he was League One. I don't really remember much of him. It's just Pearson. As soon as you say that name, Pearson, that 2018 season where he just picked up like 15 yellow cards and just showed the passion that he had. Ridiculous.
All right. All good shout says, can you do any better? You know what to do. Drop us a comment below. We'll give him a shout out next week. Right, you lot, enjoy your football this week. Double header. We'll be here next week to, of course, look back on how Norwich has gone and, of course, how Plymouth has gone as well. Enjoy all that. Have a great week, everyone. Thank you very much again for joining us. We'll see you on the other side of Game Week 11 and Game Week 12.